Okay, processing the other aspects of self that people have been attributing to having implanted false memories, the traumatized parts of yourself, the alternate personalities. They call them alters. I call them aspects. They're still me. I'm owning them, man. I'm owning every one of them. The genetic freaking history from before the Big Bang right on to today. All the wounds of the world. The oneness thing, I'm one with God. God is processing all this, and I'm not saying that God is having to go through some psychological courses or anything, but all that is going through this, and I'm adding my energy of resolution to it all. Find the principle, apply the healing principle, and there you go. That's the magnetism. So what's attributed as a false memory in one person, like in me, which I don't have any that I consider false memories, but that resonates. Ooh, false memory vibe, and all the other false memory, anything that has anything to do with vibrating with false memory comes to, oh, there's the resolution. And the how to just spreads through the web of creation to each bubble of consciousness, realm, and dimension. This is how powerful we can be, people. Do not underestimate your ability to heal in the quiet, in the dark, not talking to anybody else about it. Only some of us come public so that you have validation that you're doing this stuff. So we have these memories and these experiences. And I'm going to tell you about one of mine. Whew, it's a fresh one. I'm going to try not to cry on you. So I'm trying to put all of these things together. The fractured personality, dissociative identity disorder, and all of that. And there's something that just kept tweaking, just but not wanting to come forth. So I remember as a child, I had a little kitten, and her name was Autumn. She was calico, and I loved her, and I hugged her, squeezed her, I called her on, took her home, and I called her on. But I left for school one morning, and now we're an eighth of a mile from the road, so we're hiking down a hill to get to the bus stop at the end of our driveway. And about halfway down in the field, there's my kitten. She's dead. I come back home later. I said, Mom, I found my kitten in the field. She says, oh, Fox probably got it. And I remember we were at a campground where families, they would rent a campground. It was their campers would stay there all winter. It was basically a double wide in a trailer park that they called a campground. But they'd go there on weekends. The family would hang out during summer vacation there. It's like a second home kind of campground that they used to do. And so we went to another family's campground, and I come to my senses, and my brother and my sister, and I'm squatting there, and there's the crucifying of a freaking frog going on. What are we? Oh, my little butt. No. Where did he? So, this part of me is aware now that the part of me that's suspicious about this kitten is noticing this experience, and it's still in me in confusion, keeping quiet over there in the corner. So I become a teenager, and I get my little first car, and the vanity plate says Little Fox, and there's a foxtail I got hanging from the mirror, and dude, this little fox, They would have keg parties, like, behind the dam and the reservoir and stuff. And these 4-wheel drive pickup trucks would get stuck in the mud. But me and my little Fox, little red car, we, like, get up on top of the middle and the side. We don't get stuck in the track. And we're just bouncing past them, waving. We get into that keg, man. But Little Fox, why did I identify with Little Fox? So many years later, half a century later, I'm over 50 now. I've lived half a century, y'all. So I'm camping out in the woods, and an entity comes to me, and he's petting a little fox. He's just looking at me like something's not right here. He's obviously the one in charge of the foxes, but I'm a strange fox. I'm not a fox coming under his spell. And he left. Of course, I didn't understand all this at the time because I'm homeless. I'm camping out in the woods. Normally, all I need to do is spend 2-3 days sleeping on the ground, and boom, 10 years are lost off my life. Lost. I gained 10 years. I look younger. My aches and my bones stop. But it's not working nowadays. And it's the power lines. It's the 5G. There's no more sleeping on the earth. Take a camping trip, feel 50 years younger. No, not anymore. Not for me. So, I'm fixing that though. I mean, I have this fox experience. I have the teenage fox experience. I have these freaky experiences as a child. And last night, my friend's talking to me, what about these? And I'm talking about memories. And I share this story with her about the little fox and me understanding that I may have. And then it just comes pouring out. Yes. She says, that was me. That's what they made me do. They made me kill my kitten. And I was programmed to be like a little fox. And, well, no wonder I can get unseen. Not intentionally. I'm not out like shoplifting and killing people and all of that. But I am guided, and I miss out. Like, I'll be sitting there. I was living in Slab City, and we had the Handlebar, and I like to do volunteer work there, bring food there, just hang out there because it was cooler than my camper. Get a sense of community. And I'd be like, somebody would need something. I'm like, oh, I have that, and I'd go back to my camper, and I'd come back. Dang, in that short amount of time I was gone, dude comes in, pepper sprays the dog, pepper sprays the chicken, the guy behind the counter, and there are knives, and there's all kinds of stuff. I miss every single one of those events. Every time I leave is when the stuff goes down. And I was always curious about that. That's my little fox, my intuitive little fox. She just couldn't make herself known because she's afraid that I'm not going to like how she came to be. But it's okay because I love her. It's okay that she came to be in me because I like having her. She's a smart little thing. I can appreciate very much about her. But anyway, she comes up last night. She lets herself be felt. And so I come back to my camper, like, I can't put my friend through this, like, I gotta figure this out. So I'm going through it, okay. And then I had watched a video, and I had conveyed to people a thought to introduce when the memories keep coming up, and we keep experiencing the shame, the regret, the remorse, the anger that they made you do this, that you had no other choice. And it keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up, and it's always the same responses. It's always the same emotions. And so it was like Matt Kahn or something way back in the day before he turned into the new wacky conveyor belt of new age knowledge that he is now. But, the thought introduction was, Why? It could have been through the Crimson Circle too. I don't know. I've taken in so much knowledge from so many tidbits from all sorts of little sources. The question is, why do you feel that way? Because I believe I must. That is a horrible, violent thing to do. The proper emotion to feel is horror, shame, regret, remorse, self-hatred, self-loathing, anger, because we're not supposed to hate ourselves. We're supposed to love ourselves. So it's this trap. But we're stuck in the trap because of the belief that we must feel these things in association with that event. You already did that. You felt those proper emotions in there. Must we then and now continue to force ourselves to have those feelings? Must we believe? Do we believe we must always and forevermore go through that emotional ride when we are introduced to anything resembling that event? You've played out the emotion. It's flowed out of your system. It should not be there anymore. Now, generational curses, generational accumulation of trauma. Your great-grandfather felt shame and then anger and loathing and projected it on your grandfather, and your grandmother did it to your mother, and then it was passed on to you and heaped onto you with association with these types of experiences. And so you're taking and you keep carrying the burden, and it goes right on to primordial ooze. There is no end to the amount of anger, hurt, betrayal, remorse, horrification. It's not going to end unless we choose to let it end with us. I felt that emotion. I was responsible. I was appropriate. But now it is not appropriate. That is not my anger anymore. And you know what? Hold yourself accountable. Be a tough dog. And no, if you're not ready to go to this level, because I'm not victim blaming here. Okay? This is not blaming you. Giving you a path that diverts from the one you're on when you're ready. Okay? So me, I'm ready to say, who am I to steal? Because this is how I got to talk to myself to really get myself out of that Pollyanna, I'll do anything you tell me mode. Who am I, this little thief, this little fox, to steal the burden of that anger, that horror, that shame, that regret, that remorse, that self-loathing? That's a little present I could send back, so that they can become responsible, emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature, psychologically mature, psychologically intelligent. They can grow themselves up if they keep that burden. But if I'm stealing it from them, if I'm showing love by doing it for them, I am depriving them of the ability to mature, to evolve, to ascend, to move on into the new world, to move into paradise, to graduate to heaven. So that's another way we can put it. And so my little fox came forth at just the right time for me to tell her, you can let that go. And then something miraculous happened. She and I, in the same time, decided we could imagine the little kitten Autumn coming back. And she saw her little kitten Autumn, and she's cuddling her little kitten Autumn, because she no longer had the belief that Autumn was dead. She could now perceive Autumn. And so that brought me to Bink, and how I was told they found her body and then they buried it under a tree. So I believe I could not see Bink again, other than in the non-physical heavenly realm. However, that belief is preventing me from laying eyes on Bink. The belief that our loved ones have died and gone far away from us prevents us from experiencing them as real, present, here and now. And when these corrupt rulers who are preventing us from, so I have this awareness, I can reach through the barrier. I've broken the wheel of karma. I have escaped the matrix. I can do this stuff. But because the barriers is still imprisoning absolutely everybody around me and everything around me, that experience cannot become real for me in a that I can share and present to other people, because they won't believe it. They're going to see me with an invisible, like, imagining I've got this big old dog here and I'm so happy to see her. Like, we've got y'all figured out there, dude. So, no longer traumatize ourselves with these emotionally charged memories. Let them go live in the reality bubble of that time and that age. They are wiped clean. We process them. We've released them. They no longer exist. They've dispersed and become something else. And something else is little foxy me, all grown up past the age of 53. Alright, hope that helps somebody. Oh, I'm on a roll today.